So super excited because I have this topic that's been on my mind forever. And like the most important topic on my mind. And I saw you post about it like 3 days ago. So I'm like, this is going to be a perfect place to start. So the thing that's been on my mind is, this whole personal development world. It seems like most people that I've interviewed and from my own life story, a lot of people make the transition into growth or chasing their dream out of like a moment of pain, a moment of, I started feeling a lot of anxiety and that called me into action, or I was broke and that called me into action, or I had cancer and that called me into action, right? But then there's this whole world of people, and this was me for the majority of my life, which was, you grew up in a good environment, you had a decent amount of money, you had a good family, and life was pretty good. You could go to college, you could get a good job, but you don't feel super stoked about it, and you feel like there's something missing. And the analogy I saw you have, which is basically someone's in the middle of the cliff as opposed to like starting at the bottom. And it's this fear of, okay, I am here and I know the bottom exists and I'm scared to go there, but I want to get here. And so my question is kind of like, how can you have that aha moment before you wait to hit the rock bottom? And what does that look like? So I'm curious what your take is on that.
Yeah, it's how I start a lot of my speeches. I give a poll when I start saying, how many of you grew up with nothing? And half the audience raises their hand, right? They grew up broke. And I'm like, oh, I feel sorry for the rest of you. And that's exactly the point I'm trying to make, that the more difficult position is my
Mm,
children's position than my position, because I already know what it's like to have nothing, right? And we can only know what we know. And I already know what it's like to come from nothing and to make whatever I want out of nothing.
mm,
And no matter where and who you are, if you start in the middle or start at the top, you never have the confidence to know what it's like to be at the bottom with nothing until you have nothing. And sometimes subconsciously and unconsciously, people who are in the middle or at the top, they'll self-sabotage themselves just to know what it feels like to hit rock bottom. And then they'll use that as an excuse or their story, determinative upon their attitude of how and what they've made of themselves. But a lot of times, just the energy and the physics and the meaning of what goes on allows us to experience. So, how do we, if we're at the middle or the top, how do we continue to plateau and grow? Don't
right.
want to live the myth of Sisyphus where you push a boulder up to the top of the hill, just have it roll down every day. And these 5 things are applicable to whether you're at the bottom, the middle, or the top. Obviously, those people that are at the bottom have a little bit of an advantage because they have nothing to lose.
Hmm.
And I always say I'd rather have nothing to lose than everything to lose. And people that tell me, oh, well, the rich get richer. I don't know. I just have a different perspective.
Hmm.
There is a great power in having enough to, help you continue on and to stay in business. But there comes a point where, you could lose it all.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, but these are the 5 things that I think help everyone. Number one, take inventory of your values and don't be afraid of being a hypocrite. Every single day,
Hmm.
no matter whether you're at the top, bottom, middle, or wherever, go ahead and take inventory of your personal values. What are my non-negotiables in life? Your experiential values, placing important on what your experiences are, situational knowledge is, who you're going to meet, the subjective value of life. Put and take advantage of the inventory of what you want to give to others, what value you want to give to others. That,
Hmm.
in order to do so, you need to also take inventory of your capabilities, what your skills are, what your knowledge is, and of what and of who, and what your desire is. Those all encompass what you can experience and give.
Hmm.
And then finally, most importantly, receive. And so you want to take inventories of the what in life, not the why, right? A lot of people in the middle and the top,
Hmm.
they don't understand they've already been given what, so they don't think about what they want. They just think about, oh, I need to follow my purpose and passion, my why. Well, meanwhile, you already know your why is to help somebody with something, to pursue your potential should be your why. You
Hmm.
need to focus in on your what. The second thing is to ask. And this gets even
Hmm.
more difficult for people in the middle of the top, because it's not just ask how you can be of service or value. It's more importantly asking, do you know anybody that could help me? And most people's egos, they're not humble enough when they're at the middle of the top to ask for help. And that became my problem as I lived in the world of just enough. I stopped asking for help. When I had nothing, it was easy to ask for help. When I had stuff to lose, it was hard to ask for help because then I thought it would make me diminished in other people's eyes. The other ones are practical in being a student of my calendar. I believe the formula of luck, no matter what status you're at in life, is what you pay attention to, what you vote for in your life, what you give intention to, the think, say, do, believe, in your unconscious competencies. The attention plus intention equals the coincidences in your life. Formula for luck.
Mm.
So study, pay attention to, and give intention to what you have planned, what you don't have planned in your sleep. Do it with the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, and you will be efficient, effective, and statistically successful. You'll create compound interest, acceleration, and growth, segmentation, as I call it, in your life. The fourth thing to do as a daily practice is really easy and powerful. And this is the matter of empowered people versus entitled. Do things now. 100% of the things you do now get done. The difference between successful people and all others is successful people get stuff done. And then finally, practice ending fear. And in order to practice ending fear, you have to, number one, identify the secondary and primary fears in your life. For me, I still have fears that I know. I identify when I have a need to be right, a need to be offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, worried, angry, resentful. I identify those, and then I'm a ferocious Buddha. I'm ferocious in stopping, not accelerating in the wrong direction. I know that when I am in ego-based consciousness, when I'm in fear-based consciousness, my mind, body, and soul are on fire. So I got to stop, number one, drop like a Buddha, number two, breathe through my nose, out through my mouth, pass my eyes out to the end of the universe, and get to center, get to neutrality, get that plateau and grow attitude going, and then roll in the right trajectory, right? When you're on fire, you got to stop, drop, and roll like a ferocious Buddha. And if you follow those 5 daily practices, no matter where you're at, you're capable of plateauing and growing, accelerating, utilizing the compound interest in life. I'll tell you a quick story is also analogous to this. So guy's at the top of the hill, right? And he runs and he slips at the top and he falls off the cliff, and he's lucky halfway down the hill, he gets caught up on a branch. So he's hanging there, right? Hanging halfway. And he looks up and he screams, "Anybody up there?" And God comes down. He says, "Yeah, I'm here. Can you help me?" "Sure, I can help you." "What? Help me." "Let go." "Anybody else up there?" The guy that's from the bottom, he has no problem letting go, right? If he was at the bottom, if you're on ground level, yeah, I'll let go. The guy in the middle and the top, they're afraid to let go and let God and let goodness. They're afraid to admit that they're always connected to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons at all times. And their job is to clear that connection, to create less interference and corrosion to it, to allow things to come through you, to not live in a world of not enough where the ground zero is, where everything happens to you as a victim. That's the problem with having nothing. Or in the middle, in a world of just enough where I've lived, where you're buying things to be happy, buying more things to be happy, buying different things to be happy, buying things you don't need to be happy, buying things to impress people you don't like to be happy. Or you can live in the abundance world of more than enough. Whether you're at the bottom, the middle, or the top, those who live in faith, in abundance, that live between, for an instant of a second, limitlessness and infinity, those who live in abundance and allow things to come through them, not to them or for them, but through them for others, there is no vertical disadvantages or advantages exist. When you live in that infinity and limitlessness, when you live in abundance, there is no altitude, there's just attitude.
Man, I love that. Everything you just said was incredible. And I think what really hit me like recently in my journey was that with the first thing you said, which is like, just focus on how you can give. Like, just focus on how you can solve problems and be out there in the world and actually helping others, because that's kind of the first step to actually going somewhere and doing something. And then what you just said at the end there too, which was like this idea of always touching with your fears, right? The thing that I did recently was Dr. Joe Dispenza. He has like this 30-day mindset challenge where every single day you journal at night. What are the little things that popped into my head? What were the fears? What were the ego-based things? What were the, the judgments, all these things towards myself. And then every single day, write those down. And after 2 weeks, you start to write, what is the empowering version of this? And what I noticed over time is like, it just starts to compound because you start to identify like, oh, it's actually these three thoughts that really hold me back. It's actually like fear of this, judgment of this, and fear of judgment from others. And when I was able to identify those, it becomes very powerful when you can make those like micro adjustments and always be very in tune and be the ferocious Buddha, like you said. So I love that, man. That's freaking awesome. And kind of this from this idea of more than enough, because I saw that you're into this too, and I'm really interested in this as well, because my whole thing that I kind of base my podcast around and all my stuff is this idea of happiness before success. Like I love this concept because it's this idea of, once you jump off the cliff, for me, once I said, I don't want to go corporate, I don't want to do anything, I want to figure myself out. Well, then I do find myself at the bottom of the totem pole, right? I'm looking at people who are top of the top entrepreneurs, and I'm like, okay, here I am, this 22-year-old who doesn't know anything. How do I find comfort in that? And what I realized was the comfort for me came from finding happiness, finding self-acceptance, finding simple practices like gratitude and meditation and exercise and sleep and stuff that's like, this is my foundational pillars. And I know, you have a pretty cool definition of happiness yourself. So I'm kind of curious your take on this happiness before success sort of idea and how you would define happiness and how you think those two interrelate with each other.
Sure. So I actually believe happiness is enjoying the consistent every day, persistent without quit pursuit of your own potential.
Hmm.
And if you take those 5 daily practices that we previously discussed and
Hmm.
determine what your what is, right? What makes you special at 22 is you already listed out non-negotiables for yourself: your health,
Hmm.
your sleep, your meditation. These are non-negotiables that create a pursuit of your potential according to your what. And
Hmm.
no matter what your financial success is, that doesn't determine your happiness, right? Money doesn't buy happiness or love. It gives you and allows you to shop. And if you shop for the right things, you'll be happy. Well, we don't need money to shop for all the right things. Happiness allows us to have advantages in shopping for the right things. But,
Hmm.
you know, can money buy health? Absolutely gives you advantages, but you don't need money to buy health, right? Can it buy meditation? Absolutely. You can go to the one and only and great resorts, but you don't need it, right? You can have nothing and go to meditate every day in a monk, bill. Doesn't matter. So, so money is a currency. It's an object of
Hmm.
energy we put into flow to help you get what you want, to shop for what you want. But so is faith,
Hmm.
and you need to, by taking inventory of your own values, have a weighted blend according to your values, not being afraid of being a hypocrite. So when you're 23, you may change your mind and say, you know what, Wall Street's for me. I tried this out. I'm gonna go try out, a different blend of faith and money. But that blend can change and grow and learn with you and accelerate you in the right trajectory towards learning the lessons. Remember, the
Hmm.
great 12 lessons of Sanskrit are very basic, and they're all determinative upon you're given a body, you're here to learn lessons. The lessons will keep on coming to learn them. Pain will result if you haven't learned them. Pain is not a stop sign, it's an indicator to move in the better direction, to a better place. Everyone else is a mirror of yourself. Remember, you're going to forget every lesson you've ever learned, but more importantly, you have the power to access every lesson at any time. Those are the basic laws of the universe that have been given to us since the time of writing. And they still are heavily applicable today, ones in which I live by, and you should live by as well. So, a weighted
Hmm.
blend of the two currencies of money and faith will lead you to happiness if you enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, not
Hmm.
attaching your, young people like myself. We love to attach our emotions to an outcome. I'll be happy when I graduate. I'll be happy when I make my first million. I'll be happy when my
Hmm.
podcast is a top 10. I'll be happy when, no, no, no. I'm happy now. I'm angling towards what I think I want, and
Hmm.
I have faith that I'm going to end up somewhere better. Listen to me one more time. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm going to angle towards what I think I want, but have faith that I'm going to end up somewhere better. It's that simple.
Hmm. That's so powerful. And I love how all this research that we all do and we all go into our journeys, and everything comes back to these little simple things, right? These
Oh,
little
tell me about it.
simple concepts. And it always blows my mind. I'm like, really? I studied this for 2 years to come back to like this little conclusion, but it's just in my head now. So
Let me blow your mind. Let me blow your mind. So obviously I do a lot of content. I speak around the world. I've
right.
written best-selling books. I have TV shows, movies, podcasts is one of the top ones. You can't give me something I haven't done in content. The two things that have changed more people's lives that I teach are two things that I learned before I was 3 years old. Number one, say thank you. You say thank you before you go to bed, and when you wake up, your life will change. Say it every single day, right? And the other one is ask,
Hmm.
right? Think about it. When you're a little boy, somebody told you, hey, make sure that you say thank you. And someone said, you need to ask, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the two most powerful lessons out of all the thousands of people that contact me to say I changed their life. I've inspired them for great things and abundance and expansion, but they're always going back to the, oh, thank you so much for telling me to say thank you. Thank you. I'm asking now. This is amazing. And I think to myself, all the things I've written, all the TV shows, podcasts, 20 years of free training, right? All the free training, everything I've done. And yet I could have taught when I was in kindergarten these two concepts and changed people's lives way back then.
Yeah, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I know we got a few minutes left here, but I do want to ask this, so let's just keep following this storyline. Someone takes the jump, they're finding happiness. And the next question for all these kids, like who are in high school or college or recent graduates, like, all right, well, what is the first step to making money? And I know that you've made a lot of money, lost it, made it all back. So is there any like simple tips you have people when it comes to like actually now, all right, we still have to make money on this journey. What are some simple tips we can abide by to be able to do that?
The simplest one is to find someone economically that sits in the situation you want to be in and ask them how to get
Mm,
it or help you get it.
mm,
That's literally, can you help me get it? Do you know anyone that can help me? Or ask, I mean, why try to invent the wheel? So I get so many real estate questions, and they're very particular to commercial, residential, renting, buying, whatever the situations
mm.
are. I'm like, and there's so many areas of like just Orange County, the situation would be different depending on what county you're in, what neighborhood you're in, right? My advice would be no good at the neighborhood next door. So I'm like, no, find someone that's been there 30 or 40 years, working within the context of what you want to do, and ask them one simple question. Tell me when it's overbought or oversold. So you'll know what to do. If real
Mm,
estate's overbought, you sell it. If it's oversold, you buy it. This is
mm,
not rocket science, but too many people are afraid to ask for help, afraid, and they're not more interested than interesting in finding the person that sits in the situation that they want to be in, especially when it's determined by economics. And also, if you want to just make money, then go ahead and find something and pre-sell it.
mm.
I know this is a base. We talked about simple shit, right? That's
Yeah.
what Gary talks about it all the time. And
Right.
all doing, whether it's baseball cards, basketball cards, swap meet shit, or garage sale stuff, whatever, all he's doing is pre-selling. Right? It's the
Mm,
oldest game in the book of making money. If I have something pre-sold for $100, right, and I can buy it for 40, I just made $60.
right.
Right? So connect the dots backwards, find things and the cool thing about the internet is you can find a lot of things pre-sold because there's a lot of requests as well as a lot of data in order to effectuate what something
Mm,
will sell instantly for, like on eBay, buy now. Right?
right. 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 Literally.
I mean, literally, and you can search both sides of it. People are just lazy. I promise you, if you spend 20 hours in one day just looking for things that are pre-sold and then searching for what you can buy it for and negotiating hard to buy it for a bigger margin, you'll make more money than most people make in a day.
I love it, man. Well, to close, I want to ask you, I know that your mission is to empower a billion people, and
Over.
there's over a billion people. Sorry, I don't want to limit you. I know
Yeah,
it's a
thank you.
consistent, persistent pursuit, right? I got that. And so, a lot of kids are looking for ways to be guided through this time. And I know you have a free training on Friday. So do you want to just touch on that? And just, I
Thank
think people could really benefit from that.
Thank you. Yeah, every Friday for over 20 years, I've been doing free trainings at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. They're online now. We had over 20,000 people registered last Friday. That's my most downloaded podcast as well. So if you miss it, I know Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific are tough for some people, But the podcast is available. The playbook is free as well. It's featured on Spotify. It's featured on entrepreneur.com. I'm the #1 podcast on there. So check it out. You can get it for free. If you need my books, exercises, guides, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I also have a text community. So text me 949-298-2905, david@dmeltzer.com, 949-298-2905. I appreciate the opportunity to share. Thank you, everyone. Remember, most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom with me. It means a lot, and I'm looking forward to keep following your journey, brother.
Thanks for your support. I look forward to bringing all your friends, family, and associates. I'm open for help, okay?
All right. Sounds good, man. Cheers. Be well.
Cheers. Talk to you soon. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Bye-bye.